Welcome back there, buds. Let's restore some furniture.
What we have here is an actual, real deal 1800s farmhouse dining room table. It has some very interesting characteristics about it. It has these leaves that you pull out and then they kind of flip up a little bit, and then you slide that in and then you put them down, push that back in to hide them. And without the leaves, it's pretty square. I'd say 4 foot by 4 foot. The top on there came undone and is just totally bowed. I literally picked this up off of a farm. So this is a farmhouse table. It's been sitting in a barn for, I don't know, 50 years or more. They believe somebody in their family that lived on the farm originally had built it probably in the late 1800s. So they just want to get it back to original, get a nice natural finish on it. We could see that this is some white oak. It is solid, it is heavy as hell, and I think it's going to turn out great. What I need to do is get this top off, rejoin this top. I think that's what I'm going to do first. Real quick here though, let's just take a look. Here are the legs for it. They're all nice turn legs. Same wood. Looks to me like a white oak. This middle one, it's good. It can just be repaired on there a little bit. But they gave me some wood out of the barn. It might have actually been used to make that table, who knows? So I'm going to use that wood. I need to make some new supports. These are extremely loose and have been nailed up underneath over the years. So I'm going to make 2 new supports for these. Yeah, I think all I got to do is just get those legs off there, get those strips sanded, ready for finish. Let me get this opened up here for you. Take a look underneath this. You can see some old finish there. Is that maybe how that table originally looked? It's a very interesting design. Not sure what's original, what was added. Got these Z-clips here, and they go into this. See upside down there? They go into that. I don't know. I mean, I guess they just did that to help prevent it from warping. But then this pulls out. I don't know. And then if you look here, there's like this cleat screwed into the side that has screws coming up from the bottom that would screw into the bottom of this. So did somebody, and there's like a little rabbit that runs around the edge. So did somebody do that originally, or was that, who knows? Looks like we had a tablecloth stick to it at one time. Sure we've all seen that. Got the nice old farm dirt in there. I don't know. I'm just gonna work on this top now. Try to figure out a way to reattach this top. I'm thinking all Z-clips. I know everybody gave me hell on my first table refinish video, how I rejoined that top, so learn from those mistakes. And we will get this top glued back together properly so we don't have it cracking anymore or warping anymore. And then we will get some Z-clips, I think, and reattach this a different way. Because if I just screw up from the bottom with that cleat, I think we're going to end up with the same results. So we need a little bit more of a floating top instead of permanently secured. So when all those expansions happen, it's nice and safe. So let's just get the rest of that top off, and we'll go from there. Take a look at these old. I don't know what it is. I just love old rusty stuff. Get some like old salad fingers. His love for rusty spoons. I'm a rusty hardware. Now that there tells me that that probably had some sort of a that looks like that might be something stapled on that at one point. So was this, you can see here, remnants, something stapled there. Maybe this was like a top from a dining room table. Maybe this isn't as old as I thought. Maybe this was just made separate because the old one was bad. Who knows? But it does look like there was something stapled on there. And that would tell me maybe that was just a, a store-bought piece that had a tag there. Or maybe something was attached there. I don't know. It's very interesting though. There's a lot of stories this thing can tell, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm just gonna take all the screws out. Let's start with this. I have everything labeled. So I'll hopefully know how it goes back. If you can see there are some, let's take a look. Looks like there are some letters printed. If you can see that. There are some letters printed on that board there. Could possibly be something from the manufacturer. I would say, I mean, if I had to guess, this probably wasn't homemade. This wasn't made on the farm. That this was probably store-bought and just refinished over the years. Who knows? That's my guess, though. Still a really cool piece. I've never seen anything like this, and the way those leaves slide out like that. I like that much better. Much better than your typical slide it apart and put them in the middle. I think it's just a pretty cool idea. Best bet, maybe take off some stuff that's not going to fall, hit me in the foot when I least expect it. Is that glued? Might be glued. Just held on there. More shop vac. More shop vac. Here you can get a little bit better idea of how this mechanism works. So you have your slides, and you have these little metal little pieces that go from the slide. This is screwed to the underside of those leaves. That comes out. They swivel up. So now I need to mark these up so I know where they go when I go to put it back together. And get those off, and then those leaves should detach. So we'll get that apart. Now, let's see, that should just all come right off. I think I have everything on. No, I don't. Let's give this one number 3. Put a little notch back here. There we go. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright, more shop vac. More shop vac. Now looking down the barrel of the leaf here. Got a little bit of cupping. But this is all split at each glue seam. This was 3 boards here. I believe it to be white oak. One way I was taught that you can really tell the difference between, because a lot of people sometimes confuse your white oak for chestnut. If you can see across the end grain here, you have the rays that go through. The end grain's going this way, then you have these rays. Chestnut won't have that. Usually chestnut will be full of holes too. All the worms eating it. But I don't see a single hole in this piece. And it has those rays. And we'll go with good old white oak. This will also have to be cut down. I will just be ripping each seam, re-gluing, run this through the joiner too, get rid of that cup. There's the underside of that one. For anyone fascinated by dirt. Everybody has something. It's a lot of dirt. Shop vac time. Now that I'm getting this apart a little more, I can see how it's working. So this is one of those end leaves. And it needs this channel. This is the outside of the table. It has that channel there for those leaves to slide in there when they're hidden. And then I'm gonna say this cleat here, yeah, that is how that would have been originally fixed to that. I don't think anybody, did that after the fact. I think it was made that way. Now, YouTube University is a tongue twister, and it also taught me here, with the expansion of the wood, you don't really want to put a screw like that directly into a table. Usually we're going to have like an oval sort of deal, so the screw can move around a little bit. You have a little bit bigger hole, so you can have some of that movement. We don't have any of these holes here big enough for any type of movement. And I would say that's probably why we're getting everything cracked and warped over the years. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way. I think what I'll do is I will reattach it using this. Obviously it's the original, why fix that? But we can make that function a little better. So we will just make those holes much bigger and use a washer or something, so when we put that screw down, that can still, move back and forth. I think that'll fix it. I think that'll be all right. No need to take it any farther. or overwork it or overthink it. That one. If you look closely there at this one, there are just fine little cracks all started all along that edge. Whether or not they will grow, that's the underside. It looks, that's about the worst. You can see these glue seams here. These are, you know, just different pieces of wood they glue up. Just three boards to that one top. A tabletop is not one solid piece of wood. But this side definitely has a deeper crack. It looks like that screw hole really started it. And then you can see it run. It runs up about a third of the way. So I guess I will probably rip down that glue seam as well, get that re-glued. And this doesn't really have much of a cup. A little bit. Maybe it should be best just to re-glue it all up, just so if there is anything in there that could start cracking, you can stop it before it starts. So probably the best way, since there is a little bit of a cup and that one's really cupped and this is the top, and while we're at it, I guess we'll just rip all these glue seams and re-glue everything. This one doesn't have any other cracks. That's like the edge of it. And I do want to leave those edges as is. I don't know, maybe that's a pretty rough beat up edge. Should I just rip that down? Or should I put some filler on there? Have like an epoxy filler. Could use that and then touch it up. Might do that just to maintain. I want to maintain as much as that original edge. If you can see, show all that, you know, that nice antique wear and tear. Don't want it to look too new. So maybe we will just hit with a sandpaper, see what it looks like. I don't know. Alright, well, let's start ripping this down and getting these glued back up. One thing that I do need to do, this is the top. Let's see how smooth that really is. So if we push that together, we need to get a reading where we were originally. It's a hair over 43 1/4. It looks like this is probably out of square because we're getting some different readings here. 43 5/16. Come on here. 43 5/16. So that's what we want to try to get back to. I originally have 43 1/4. So 43 5/16 of an inch is that magic number we want to get back to, because each time that I rip on the table saw, I will lose a little bit from the kerf of the blade. So you add that up over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 cuts, you know, 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, over 8. We're going to lose an inch or so, so we will have to make one new piece to get back to that 43 5/16 when we are done. And just for fun, we'll check for squareness. Just to be sure, we're at 61. Come down here, 61, both dead on. Yeah, we got a good square table here. So let's get the ripping. Now we hit quite a roadblock here. None of these boards are even from this side to that side. So that makes it a little difficult to rip that glue line. Down here we have 5 inches. Down here we have about 4 5/8. 4 5/8. So you get about a 3/8 of an inch difference on that, and it's the same on every board. I guess when they made this, they probably took all the boards, glued them up, and then just cut the edges to make it square, which makes sense. But when you have to go fix it, then it makes it a little more difficult. So I'm going to have to lose, I guess, a little bit more of this table than I originally thought to make it work. I mean, there's no other way that I can imagine. Let's see, maybe this one we don't rip anymore. Although that ends. So we basically just have to rip every board even and then add on with that last board, but I don't think it's gonna take off too much. It might be a 1/2 inch per board, so over maybe 8 boards, maybe we add in 2 new 3 or 4 inch boards. I don't think it will be terrible. Should be okay. But we just have to get them even so we can glue them up and it all looks right. Fun. And I'm just double checking this one to make sure this is the larger one. Uncut. I want to make sure that I didn't make some sort of mistake when I started to rip that it gave me that result. So we get a glue line down here. 5 3/4. Come down here to the end. And 5 5/8. So that one is about an 1/8 inch difference. Let's just check this middle board here. Can't really tell where that one stops and ends. So we'll do the end. Come in a little bit. There could be some rounding on that edge. 7 5/16. 7 5/16. 7 3/8. 7 3/8. They're all different. Just as I suspected. So yeah, I mean, just get to work ripping them down, and we'll just add in whatever we lost. No biggie. We got some nice old barn wood. There we have it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. 10 pieces now, and it's already laying much flatter. We have a little bit of twist in some of these boards, like this end one here. I think we can glue that up okay though. I mean, it's definitely not going to be anywhere near perfect. But let's see. Now we're at about 41 3/4 from 43 5/16. So we lost like an inch, inch and a quarter. Not terrible. So we can just add in that inch or so strip. Pick a spot there that seems pretty inconspicuous. I don't want to do the middle. Obviously would stick out like a racing stripe. So, you know, we can match up whatever grain looks closest to. But I'll get one cut now. Get these jointed, run these through the joiner so I know they're nice and square. When they all butt up to glue, they should all be sitting pretty there, but okay, let's take a look around here and see if it's all flat. It looks very flat. I am honestly shocked. I didn't think it would go together this easily. So if you look across that bottom, we got a nice flat edge now. If you can see back in there, It is nice and flat to those bar clamps the whole way down. And that top is flat because of those. Now when I take all those clamps off, yes, there's probably going to be a little bit of kickback, but I don't think it's going to be anything like it was. Maybe. Maybe, baby. It just makes it. I just gotta get some glue in there and get that glued up. Okay, there it is, all glued up. It's looking nice and flat. About as flat as it's ever gonna get again in its life. And this is such a thin. That is, on that edge, that's under 3/4 of an inch. So that's a very thin tabletop. But we should be good now. Got a couple more clamps across the top. Got everything all flattened out. Now this just has to dry. I'm probably gonna just let this sit overnight just to be safe. So let me direct your attention now to all the legs. Guess we'll get to started on that. These are bad looking wheels, all metal, still all in good shape. I will just soak these all in some rust cleaner. If you can see there, kind of a little tenon that comes through this board. Then I don't know if that's original or somebody just put those nails there to get them held in a little better. You can see here was an old remnant of the tag. Nothing left on it. This one will need remade. That always happens. This wood is so dry. So old and dry. Very dusty. That's what that looks like. Guess I will just make that one board. I think that'll match. I think we'll be good. Alright, now I got everything planed down, jointed, squared. Now I'll just have to cut these down to size, lengthwise, and screw the hole, drill the screw holes. This is the center brace, and I planed this about a 1/16 of an inch lower than the ends, because the middle, sometimes when I set a table up, you get that middle leg and it's the same or a little bit longer, and depending on the floor it's sitting on, you get a table that's sitting on that middle leg and you get a bunch of rock. Then you really have a problem trying to fix all that. So I just wanted to make that center leg a hair shorter to begin with, just so I don't have any worry with running into that problem. Now, I don't know if you caught the wood shaving volcano happening. Forgot to turn the dust collector on and it was just shooting out of there and shooting out of the table saw top. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. So I will just get these cut to size now and get the screw holes, get a little chamfer around the edge, and then we can get those stained and looking pretty. Now I need to measure for the holes that the legs will glue into. And it looks like those tenons on there are about 1.25 inches. And they come in 3 inches. And then we'll find the middle on that. So it is 5 5/8. Half of 5/8 is 5/16. Half of 5 is 2.5. Come up 5/16. There's your middle. Double check it. 2, 13/16, 2 and 13/16. There you go. Doing this so when I put that bit, it's a little guide for that bit to go right down into. I got those holes all drilled out. I'm going to hold off on drilling the screw holes and countersunk holes until I have the table set up so I know for sure where those holes need to be. So now with this all done, we just need to get a lot of sanding work done with those legs. And I'm going to reattach. You can see all these tenons are very chewed up from the screws and nails and everything over the years. And they are a bit shy over the 1.25 inch hole that I drilled there. So I'm going to take a hair off of these and we're going to do a wedge system with these, so they should be in there pretty good and not be worried about them getting loose or coming out. So we'll get to that in the near future, but let's get back over that tabletop and see how that glued up. There you can see now we have a nice flat tabletop. One thing I need to do before I really strip or sand this top, I want to get some nice dark brown stain, maybe a hair darker than this even, and stain this and let it sit and soak in. So when I go to strip and sand this won't be super light. A lot of that old dark finish will stick down into that grain, I think. So I want this to have some of that darkness down in the grain as well. So when I go and I strip and sand that, this should all flow and match up, and this won't stick out like a sore thumb. This could also show us maybe what this table might look like if it was stained darker. I know talking with the customer, they wanted to go more light natural. They also wanted to come see the table before we decided on the color. So maybe, oh, that's old Buck of Babinski Bear. Maybe we might go with this darker if it looks good. I think somewhere in the middle would be the best. What do you think, Buck? You can't, no. Just gonna let that sit and soak in a couple minutes. There, that should give us a good baseline between all these pieces now. I like that darker, but you know, some people like chocolate, some like vanilla, so we'll see what they like and go with that. Well, buds, it seems to me that this video is starting to get a little long, so I think we'll cut it there. Next up, we need to start sanding everything. I think I can just sand a lot of this finish off of here. It isn't too heavy, and I will have to scrape or plane some of those joints on that tabletop to get that nice and level and get that sanded, get the color chosen, get that all stained. We'll do that in the next video. So as always, thanks for watching. Give me a like and a comment and a share if you wish. And yeah, I'll provide a lot of the links. You know, if you want a t-shirt or stickers or anything like that, there'll be a link in the description to go to the merch store. And you know, just follow along on my Instagram page, on my Facebook. I post on there much more frequently. So as always, thanks for watching, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. All right, buddy. There you go. Go for a run. Go for a run. Go for a run. Go on.